is up, guys? Josh here at Ocho Level with the second rendition of the lab sessions here. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button as many times as you can. Today we got a special guest. We got Cub Capulet here with us today. Woo! Alrighty, brother. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you come from?
Man, I've been living here pretty much my entire adult life, but I grew up in Moorhead. It's about an hour away.
Oh yeah, that's dope. What got you into starting music? And did you have a big, growing up with it, or
kind of
anybody related to you started it?
Well, my parents played a lot of music in the house growing up. Cleaning on Saturdays or in the car going somewhere. But my dad was actually in a band in college, and I don't think I realized how much that influenced me until later, but I just kind of grew up around music, and I loved the feeling it gave me, and I've always been chasing that feeling ever since. So it's been fun making it.
Oh, did you have anybody specific that you looked up to that you try to follow after or anything like that?
At different points in my life, I would say early in my life it was Michael Jackson. I would always give concerts in the living room randomly enough, ironically enough. But yeah, so I had Michael Jackson growing up. Probably, I don't know, Drake once I hit my adulthood, and the 1975 is my favorite band.
Yeah.
I do a lot of stuff kind of off their influence as of late.
Yeah. And if a lot of you guys don't know, Cub actually has a little bit of his own kind of session he's got going on over at his house. It's called the Living Room Sessions that he does. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm doing this thing called Living Room Sessions in support of this album I got coming out called Pretend I'm in Your Living Room.
Yeah.
And to go with that, I kind of wanted to do something a little different. I didn't want to do the normal approach of drop a single, drop an album, drop a video. I wanted to touch the people. I wanted to come to people's houses and be like, yo, let me do a concert in your living room. Let me set the vibe. Let me, get some snacks over here. Let me get some drinks over here. Let's shut all the lights off and let's have us a good time.
Oh yeah, man. Well, that's something different. I don't think I've heard of anybody doing that around here, at least.
Not around here.
Definitely not. Speaking of that, going off what you just said, you said you're more of an album artist rather than a singles artist.
Yeah, no.
So you're at least more.
I'm
towards an album rather than.
I think it's a lost art form almost. It's kind of, nothing against the newer generation of wanting to turn everything into content and dropping single after single after single, video after video after video. It's a good way to stay in the public's eyes and ears and mind.
Yeah.
But, I grew up, like I said, I'm a little older than a lot of my contemporaries, and I grew up on, Michael Jackson. I grew up on Prince. I grew up on people that had eras and albums and real, well thought out rollouts. And that's just that's who I've always visioned myself as, and I think that's kind of what sets me apart from a lot of people that are doing things around this time.
Oh yeah, and then going back to your living room sessions and everything, you got some new merch dropping for that, right?
I do. So at every living room session, I'm selling what's called my merch bundle, and it's to go along with the living room theme. This ding. We'll add a little ding sound right there. So inside of it, it's got a whiskey glass customized, it's got a candle, it's got some coasters, it's got my new album, Pretend I'm in Your Living Room, it's got the deluxe version, it's got 4 songs that'll probably never end up on streaming services, and it's also got my last 2 EPs put together, Full Circle and Full Circle 2. So it's just it's giving you the vibe that I want people to have when they listen to it, I know most people probably don't have CD players in the living room, but once the album drops on streaming, it'll all come together.
Yeah, no, I totally get you on that one. So going to Pretend I'm in Your Living Room, the new album you got dropping, what was your writing process in that? What inspired you to actually write it?
It varied. So I was actually initially working on Full Circle 3, which would have been the follow-up to my last 2 EPs.
Yeah.
And it just ended up turning into something else. The songs I started writing for it didn't really fit what I initially had in mind for that project. And so eventually, for a while, it was just an unnamed album, and we wrote a lot of songs for it. A lot of them I really liked, a lot of them made sense. They went together, but it didn't have a theme. And then last summer, I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And we eloped, and when writing my vows, part of the vows were there was a line in there where I said, if you need me to, I can throw back a drink or 2, pretend I'm in your living room and dance like no one's watching. And it was, it was more of just a moment between me and my wife. But she heard it and she was like, That's a bar. What? All right. I remember coming back home and my best friend, my producer, Balloons, shout out Balloons, he also heard my vows and he was like, huh, that's a bar. I was like, really? Well, let me see what I can do with this. And I wrote a song kind of based off that line, and just every time I heard it, the phrase "pretend I'm in your living room" kept sticking out. Like, it wasn't dance like no one's watching didn't stick out. Throw back a drink or two, that didn't stick out. But pretend I'm in your living room just sounded provocative.
Yeah.
And without the context, it sounds borderline creepy.
Yeah, I get you there.
So I kind of liked it as like a standalone phrase. So I kind of named the song that, and I started thinking about the vibe of the album, and I was like, ooh, I think that's a good name for an album. And we kind of rolled with it, and then the world building that, like I said, I think most album artists do, started from there. That's when I started thinking about the merch and the living room sessions, the promo videos I got coming out. It's all just part of the world that I wanted to build from that phrase.
Awesome. Well, I think that phrase works perfectly. Like, with the way you're advertising it, the actual living room sessions you're doing, I think that's awesome. It's actually going to work out really well for you in that way.
I appreciate you.
No, the same way. What made you, though? Like, what made Cub?
What made Cub?
What makes you?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I would say just life, like I grew up in a small town, but I always wanted more. Like, what I wanted from life wasn't there, and I think getting out and seeing the world and, moving to a bigger city, moving to an even bigger city after that, like, it just kind of opened my eyes to who I was and who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's just life. Like, I think life kind of steers you where you need to go, and I needed to be doing this. I needed to be making music. I needed to be, connecting with people through my lyrics and through my feelings, I guess.
Yeah, I get you there. Who supports you the most when it comes to that? Like, who's your top tier supporters? 'Cause I know you got a lot of haters probably, so you probably got a lot of supporters at the same time.
If I got haters, they're quiet at this point.
Right.
I got my wife. I got my team around me. Only crew. It's Els Bentley, my producer Balloons, Kicks, Kern Cobain. He's the one with the fashion label Payback Company, and those are that's my family. Like, that's we kind of started on an independent label together like 10 years ago, and just over time kind of branched off and became about as tight knit as you can get. And that's
It's the best way to be, though.
Absolutely. That's my family.
It's the best, like I said, best way to be in that kind of situation. I mean, you got people supporting you, helping you out along the way. As long as they believe in you, that's all that matters, man.
Absolutely.
You got a fan base already. All right, and pretty much going off with everything else that we were talking about, what inspired her? What would you say was your biggest help becoming a musician, especially a local musician?
I really think it was just having that support system around me. Like, when I first started, it was just a dream and no real structure. And then I think once I found structure, once I found those people around me that really understood what I wanted, and we understood what we all wanted, we understood the bigger goal, that just kind of, it became second nature. Like, there's no real memory of what my past life looked like. This is really all it is.
Yeah. Did you have any obstacles that you had to overcome that really stood out to you or anything like that? If it's too personal, I get it, but...
I'm sure I did. I'm sure, a big one is coming from a small town in Kentucky. A big one is, I don't think I was that good when I started. Like, that's just, I needed my 10,000 hours. I needed the practice. I needed to fail every which way to figure out that, like, hey, that's going to happen. Like, you either keep going or you don't. And a lot of people don't.
Yeah, they quit after a little while.
Exactly. And I think that's one of my biggest strengths is just perseverance. Because, like I said, I've been doing this, at least what I consider professionally, for like 10 years. But I'm still on the rise. And that's, I think for a lot of people, that would be a tough pill to swallow. Because they would be like...
People just don't wait it out.
Yeah, like, if they don't make it within a year or two, they're like, oh, I got to figure out something else to do. But there's nothing else I want to do.
That's the best way to be, man. It gives you a current goal that you're trying to achieve, man.
Absolutely.
And going off that kind of, if let's say there was a new upcoming artist that was just starting out, what would be your biggest piece of advice that you'd give them?
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. Like, that you're gonna run into a lot of obstacles. You're gonna fail a lot. You're gonna take a lot of L's. Just keep going. You know, every day get better.
That's 100% right, man. I 100% agree with you on that one. Do you have any shout outs or anything you want to give out?
Besides the ones I already named, I want to shout out Dub Club. That's it's Els Bentley's brand. I want to shout out Payback Company. Like I said, that's Kern's brand. You can find both of their clothing and all of their merch in the store called Control the Flight. It's over off of Loudon and Julietta Market, Gray Line Station. You can also find Wild Things there. That's another brand of one of my homies, Jerron. And yeah, like that's just, you know, everybody around me is pushing something to better themselves. And I think, you know, if we can all just support each other and everybody supports that, I think the final goal is very reachable.
Awesome, man. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you guys for coming out to another Ocho Sets. You can catch our last video of Vision right here. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to leave it down in the comments. Comment who you want to be our next person to come out and get interviewed out here. If you have,
Say it again. Everything.
Everything?
Yeah, and it'll be cool if you give us a shout out, you know?
Oh, no, okay.
I mean, we're here trying to put you out there. If you want to give us a shout out, we'll take it.
Hey, if you think like
Alright, where we started?
next time.
Alright. Pretty much going off that, do you have anybody you wanted to shout out that's helped you out along the way?
No, fuck 'em.
Sick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, shout out to Ultra Level. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why we're here. That's what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We got the audience in the back. There's like 20 people back there. Y'all need to know. It's huge in here. It's lit. It's super lit. But yeah, no, you know what I'm saying? They're putting on they're giving people like a chance to just get their name out there. There's like they're trying to create a hub for the city, and I love it. So, shout out Ultra Level. I want to shout out. Let's see, if you want to come to my living room sessions, you got to follow my Finsta at Cub's Living Room. That's where I'll drop all the addresses and all the information. If you just want to follow me in general, I'm at Cub Capulet on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can Google me, Spotify, Apple Music, it doesn't matter. Cub Capulet. Super easy to find. And yeah, I guess that's how you can find me. What else we got?
Cool. I think that's about it, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming out, man.
God, appreciate you.
It's awesome to have you, man. But like I said, I want to appreciate you guys for coming out, taking another look at one of our videos. You can watch the other video we have in Vision right here. And if you have any questions or ever want to sponsor somebody or get somebody to come on to the sessions next, feel free to drop it down in the comments section. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next time.